The Rock has always been a big, swole guy, but he's stepping it up for Black Adam, saying that his physique for Black Adam is going to be the best of his career. That's pretty insane to think about because he's already known as being one of the biggest, most jacked slabs of meat in Hollywood. Myself, I'm pretty hyped to see The Rock reveal his new rock hard bod in the new Black Adam movie, but this does raise a few questions. What's different this time around with his training, diet, and recovery that's going to take him to the next level? And how does an almost 50-year-old who's been lifting for decades pack on even more size and get even more shredded than ever before? I'm going to give you a hint on that last one, and it's not chicken, broccoli, rice, and 2-a-day workouts. Let's first start with an introduction to Black Adam so we can better understand why The Rock needs to step it up to properly portray him. In the New 52 comic book run, Black Adam was a slave in an ancient civilization named Kondak. He became Black Adam when he was trying to fight back against his captors and defend his nephew. He was mortally wounded in the altercation, but luckily for him and his beloved nephew, a wizard Deus Ex Machina'd out of nowhere and saved their asses. He gave them both magical superpowers and also, a pretty killer physique. So this wizard was pretty much just the comic book equivalent of that roided out 50-year-old who only works chest at your gym and tries to sell you tren after you break up with your girlfriend. A highly relatable tale. Anyways, after they get their powers, Black Adam wants to kill their captors and free their people, while the young nephew wants to end things without bloodshed. Pretty reasonable. And what is a guy named Black Adam if not reasonable? Nah, just kidding. Black Adam murders his nephew, steals his share of the powers, and goes on to shed all the blood to free Kondak. So Black Adam is one mean son of a bitch, and not only because he can fly and has super strength, but the guy is a presence, and The Rock might be the only actor in Hollywood that could actually do the anti-hero justice. I think Rock is probably one of the only humans who actually looks like a real-life superhero. But if you know The Rock, you know he's always pushing for more. So it makes sense that for him, when he's taken on a larger-than-life role, he would want to push himself to get bigger and more well-conditioned than ever before. So I'm going to touch on what his secret sauce is for getting bigger than ever at 50. But first, let's look at some of his literally biggest roles up to this point and how he trained for them and what makes this time different. For 2017's Jumanji, here's what The Rock's training split looked like. He trained 5 days a week, doing back on Monday, chest on Tuesday, legs on Wednesday, shoulders on Thursday, and of course the best day of the week for the best workout, Friday for arms. Saturday, Sunday he had off with his famous cheat meals on the Sunday to help replenish not only his glycogen stores but also his spirits for another week of gym debauchery. His program and training split are pretty typical bodybuilding fare, but the crazy thing with all The Rock's workouts is the amount of volume that he does per body part. This leg day alone has 25 sets, and The Rock isn't known for going easy, so you know these are 25 working sets. No around here. But before each workout, to make sure his muscles are the only thing that are getting destroyed, The Rock does 20 to 30 minutes of dynamic stretching, foam rolling, and activation, because unfortunately the man's body has seen better days. For most exercises, he does 3 to 4 sets, staying in the 10 to 15 rep range, and he typically rests 60 to 90 seconds in between his sets. The Rock also trains not only hard but smart. He focuses on controlled tempo and a mind-muscle connection, both things that are hugely important for muscle building. Now let's go over to Hobbs and Shaw. There isn't a full training program available, but we do know he spent 18 weeks in an intense prep to get ready for the role. Now, judging from the couple of the workouts he has shared from Hobbs and Shaw, it looks pretty similar to what he was doing for Jumanji. But there are a couple interesting techniques that he uses that I want to highlight. You can see in his leg day, he's working in this kind of tempo work where he'll pause at the bottom of a squat, or he'll do a 5-second eccentric, aka lowering portion of his Romanian deadlifts. This is a smart move, especially for someone like The Rock who's had many injuries, because it allows you to do more with less, meaning The Rock can get the same amount of stress on his hamstrings with a lighter weight as he could with a heavier weight because he's slowing down the movement and adding more time under tension. And if you look at his back day, we see him using the same technique that many pro bodybuilders use called drop sets. This is where you work a movement to failure, wait 10 to 15 seconds, drop the weight by 25%, and go again till failure. And then sometimes you repeat this 1 to 2 more times, like The Rock does here. By dropping the weight after failure, it allows you to work every available muscle fiber and not just the big strong ones that fatigue first. And of course, this leads to more hypertrophy, aka muscle growth. So how is he stepping it up for Black Adam? So he's on a 5-day training split, doing 2 sessions a day with fasted cardio in the morning and weights at night. And for this split, on Mondays, he's doing back and biceps. On Wednesdays, he's doing shoulders. Thursdays, he's doing back and biceps again. Then on Fridays, he's training chest and triceps. And then a huge leg session on Saturdays. And then again with his beautiful cheat days on the Sunday. So the big difference with this routine is that he's really focusing on supersets, trisets, and giant sets. He's going back to back with multiple exercises with very little rest in between. This form of training is called peripheral heart action training. This is actually the type of training that Ryan Reynolds does as well, and I did a whole video highlighting his training. So once you're done here, go ahead and watch that to learn more. The Rock compares this type of training to doing back-to-back-to-back fights in the UFC, or like he did back in his wrestling days. Here's an example of one of the most brutal giant sets that he does. leg extensions and leg curls, straight into a compound pressing movement like a squat or a lunge, chain lunges, shark pit squats, and then barbell squats, all back to back with very little rest. That is insane. Now, he didn't share what he did for sets and reps, but if we go off of the rest of his training, we can assume that he probably did 4 rounds and about 8 to 15 reps per exercise. Again, with little to no rest. He is definitely stepping it up. In terms of diet, The Rock eats over 5,000 calories a day, and the exact numbers depends on what phase of training that he's in. With things like cod, chicken, steak, and eggs and protein powder for protein, rice, sweet potatoes, oatmeal, and baked potatoes for carbs. For fats, he adds a lot of healthy fats from peanut butter, eggs, coconut oil, and fish oil supplements, and he also keeps the veggies flowing for optimal health. Gotta love it. And of course, he's got his famous Sunday cheat days. This always varies. You can check out his Instagram to see some of the highlights, but it's pretty awe-inspiring. So let's cut to the chase. No normal 48-year-old's body could handle this amount of workout volume and hold on to this amount of muscle mass. So obviously, The Rock has had some help. You can tell because he's been able to progress his physique over the years, even though his testosterone levels should be dropping as he's heading into his 50s. And you could argue that it's because he's really stepped up his training, but he's always been consistent. There's no changes that he can make in his training that would make this much of a difference. Now, the other big red flag is just how busy The Rock is. Of course, you're always seeing him in the gym. He's always getting his meals in, but a huge part of muscle building is recovery. Any seasoned bodybuilder will tell you that. You can work out and eat all you want, but if you're only sleeping a few hours a night and you're super stressed all the time, you're not going to build muscle. Especially, you're not going to build as much muscle as The Rock is claiming to have built naturally. Cortisol is the enemy of testosterone. And no matter how chill you are, if you're doing as many movies as The Rock is, especially with a young family, you're going to be stressed. Now, he does have insane genetics. I mean, there's nothing that you can take to make your bone structure as big as his is. I mean, look at this photo of him at 15. He looks like a 30-year-old man. And then look at his dad. I mean, clearly he has great genetics. Even if his dad was on steroids, the guy still looks great. He's actually admitted to experimenting with steroids as a young adult, but believe it or not, he says he's been juice-free ever since. Of course, this is not true. The Rock has a personal brand to protect, and admitting to more recent steroid use would cause people who are uneducated on the subject of fitness and steroids to discount all the hard work he's put in, which is garbage. Because even though The Rock is clearly on the sauce, he wouldn't look as good as he does if he didn't put in the amount of work that he does and stay as disciplined with a diet as he does. So what is he taking? There's no way to know for sure, but since he's a high-profile celebrity and a father, I doubt he's doing any sus back alley research chemicals. I'm assuming he's working with a reputable doctor who supplements his natural testosterone production to bring The Rock up to high normal test levels for a younger man, which will allow him to recover better, pack on more pounds of muscle, and train even harder in the gym. And again, this doesn't take anything away from the hard work that The Rock has put in, but it's definitely something to keep in mind. He not only has insane genetics, but he's also getting a little bit of pharmaceutical help. And no normal, natural person is ever going to look like The Rock. I am genuinely sorry for ruining everybody's dreams. If you liked the video, leave a like, comment on who you want me to cover next, and go watch my video on Ryan Reynolds. I'll see you there.